What's going on, guys? Isaiah or /Buddy24 here, back today with another trophy guide in Horizon Forbidden West. And in this video, I'll be going over the trophy Die Flowers. For this trophy, you need to acquire a die flower and then unlock and apply a new die. This is obviously sort of a two-part trophy, a hidden trophy that is. You first need to acquire some die flowers and then head to a die merchant and apply the new die. So in terms of these die flowers, there are 6 different types of die flowers within Horizon Forbidden West, and they basically spawn on the sides of cliffs or in mountainous areas. They're not going to be like your typical other plants in the game that are pretty common and easy to find. These are a little more off the beaten path. They're going to be located basically in just random cliff areas. So you see here, I'm in the starter area in the very beginning of the game for Horizon Forbidden West. You're going to see this big cliff up behind me. And you can see that some of the ledges on the cliffs are scalable. Those are basically the ledges where the die flowers are going to spawn. You can also use your Focus Pulse ability by pressing R3, and you'll see there that the die flowers have a green rarity. So unlike many of the other herbs and plants in the game that have a gray or common rarity, these die flowers will have a green rarity. You can easily use that to then find the die flowers on the cliffs. They can be a little hard to find if you're not using that Focus Pulse ability. But yeah, you basically just find a random cliff or a random rocky area. You then use your Focus Pulse Assist little ability thing to locate them. Then you just scale along the cliffs and acquire the die flowers. That's basically the best way to get them. And they don't all spawn in like certain areas. They're kind of just randomly spawning. But yeah, you basically just go to a cliff area and then use the Focus Pulse Assist ability to find those die flowers. From there, then you need to go to a die merchant. There are 3 of them in the game, but the easiest one and the first one that you will encounter is in the city of Plainsong, one of the first major settlements that you will find at the beginning of Horizon Forbidden West. You're going to find the dyer right next to the Stitcher merchant at the very top of the sort of Plainsong city. And like I mentioned, this is the first dyer that you're going to encounter in the game that you can find very easily. The other 2 dye merchants are located later on in the game, in some of the later regions involving the more dangerous areas in the game. So once you find this first dye merchant and you have acquired enough die flowers, you're going to head on over to her, browse her various die offerings, and then just buy a die for one of your armor sets. There's pretty good variety here with the colors and with the sort of die for the armor sets. And you unlock further armor sets dies later on in the game as you progress through the main story missions. But all you have to do for this trophy is acquire the requisite number of die flowers, head to the die merchant, and then buy one of the many dies offered for your armor set. And that will be the Die Flowers trophy. It's to use die flowers to unlock and apply a new die. A little bit challenging just to find the die flowers themselves, but once you're able to acquire enough of those, you can obviously just head on over to the die merchant in the first major settlement, Plainsong, then acquire your die for your new armor set. That's gonna do it for this trophy guide, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys soon.